clenched his jaw as her rejection stabbed him in the tender area of his heart, which hit... Oh, hi. Welcome to Metro Woman.
It's a show for women and about women, and this time it's for anybody.
Well, romance is what we're talking about today, and reading.
And who doesn't like either one of those?
Well,
romance and reading.
I'm very partial to both because I do enjoy reading.
Yes,
it is
so
one
do
of
I.
my bigger hobbies.
Yes.
And also, who doesn't love a good romance?
I like romance novels. I've always loved them, and Nora Roberts is one of my favorites, actually.
Well, and I think pretty much everybody, whether they read romance or not, has heard of Nora Roberts.
Oh, absolutely.
But
Yep.
we're going to talk to Sarah Wendell, trashybooks.com. She has a huge website, about 19 million hits a month. That's million with an M, folks.
Yes.
Of women and men who love the romance genre, love to read, and just love to know what's new, what's hot, what's coming out. And she's got a book out herself
And
that
I
we're going to
think
hear
her
about.
personality is something you won't want to miss.
It's bigger than your TV screen, whether you got a 60-inch plasma or not. You are going to just
She's hilarious.
turn up the volume. Well, unless the kids are in the room, you might want to turn down the volume. But we're really going to have a lot of fun today here in Metro.
If you can't already tell.
Yeah, we're already
We're
having
in
a lot of fun.
the romance fun mood.
So please join us after the break here on Metro Woman. We're back and we're here with Sarah Wendell, smartbitchestrashybooks.com. Now, first and foremost, you really need to explain why the name of the website.
We're dying to know.
Well, the first is that we never really expected to ever get media attention and didn't realize that certain words would not play well in certain
So
markets.
you're saying we're giving you your first media attention?
Well, with the full name, yes, most of the people call it Trashy
Way
Books.
Metro Woman, way to go.
In the romance culture, especially among writers and readers online, there's a tremendous amount of pressure to be nice. And we were going to take a very critical look at romance novels and look at what made them work and what made them sometimes, in some cases, mind-bendingly awful. And we knew that when we did that, we would attract some negative attention. So we figured, well, if we call ourselves names first, then you can't. Ha ha.
Good thinking.
And we're also making fun of the idea that romance novels are trashy. They're not, and we're not saying that they are. We're saying that they're actually worth critical study. So that's what we do.
Good, I don't have to throw out all my books at home.
That's right.
Oh no,
Not reading
smart
any
women
kingdom.
read romance.
Ah,
Yes.
I knew there was
So
a
that
reason
is
I
your
liked it.
platform. If you were in the Miss USA pageant, you would say my platform is
And I would need some
smart women."
platforms because I'm like 5'3".
So you are contending, and that is
That's my platform.
The crux of why you started this highly popular. Because what were your hit count for the last month?
April, oh goodness, you got me on numbers. April we had 19 million hits, and in a day we average about 200,000 page views, which is the individual pages of our website loaded. So about 200,000 people reading the pages or rereading pages a day, and about 19 million hits a month.
So pretty darn popular
good.
and a pretty
Yeah.
big following.
I try not to look at the stats too often because then I get a little stage fright, like whatever I say is
whatever
really
you're
brilliant
doing,
now.
Don't change it. You're doing it right.
I hope so.
Now, in Iowa, romance is the #1 read genre. And we have a lot of readers here. We're smart folks here in Iowa.
Yeah,
We're
thank you
always
very
tops in
much.
education. Thank you very much. Yes.
It's
So-
the corn, isn't it? The corn and the soy.
We're very
beans.
healthy,
We eat
and
healthy,
we feed our
healthy
brains.
minds,
That's
healthy
right.
body. Yeah.
So why do you think the romance genre is so popular? Why?
Well, I think that it's consistently popular, and it's getting a lot of attention right now because while every other company is posting negative gains, Harlequin is one of the few companies that's posting improvement every quarter. They have profit in the millions when everyone else is reporting a loss. Now, I think on one hand that romance has always been popular, and Warren Buffett, the investor in Omaha, says that when the economy goes bad, it's sort of like watching the tide go out and you see who forgot to put on their bathing suit. So when the tide goes down in the economy and everyone else's earnings start to fall, the things that are consistently bestsellers remain the same, and that's romance. It is always a top seller. Now it's standing out because it's so much more of a top seller than everything else. Romance sells particularly in a bad economy because it has a happy ending. And I work in Manhattan, and there are some of the most fashionable, stylish people in the world operating around me in Manhattan. I'm not one of these. There's a large part of me that's a 13-year-old girl from Pittsburgh walking around New York going, oh my gosh, look at that. So there's always a sense of what's stylish and what's hot and what's interesting. And what I've noticed is that happy endings are not stylish. They are not cool. They are not interesting. You know, if you're going to read literature, it has to, you know, rip your heart out and hand it to you.
Or they want the crazy twist at the end or something?
Yes, or the
Okay.
dog dies, and that's just, you know, emotion.
That's a
and
country song.
Yeah, it's authentic. So happiness isn't stylish, happiness isn't cool, but I think happiness is priceless. So when you are continually surrounded by bad news economically, and you don't know how much is left in your retirement fund, and you don't know how you're going to pay the bills, or maybe even figure out your grocery budget for the month, you're in the checkout line, there's a romance novel, it's only a few dollars, and you're guaranteed a few hours of happy entertainment. That's priceless, and I think more people are recognizing that.
Oh, I can always tell when it's time for me to read a good juicy novel, you know, a romance, because it's just my mood. It's like, I haven't read one for a while, I better get one. And obviously so what you're saying is so true.
And you feel better.
I do.
It's nice because you have these two characters, and you know that no matter what happens to them, how bad it is, it's all going to be okay in the end. Nothing else comes with that guarantee. You know, stain removers promise that they're going to get the stain out, and then they don't. This is a tremendous letdown, and that can cause, you know, great psychic damage. A romance novel, the stains come out, everything's going to be fine, everyone's going to be happy, it's all good in the end.
Well, it's usually an easy read. I mean, you can almost listen to the radio or TV or something and still read. I mean, you don't have to analyze every word or look anything up in the dictionary.
There are some that are not going to demand a lot of your focus. They're not going to, you know, try to make you feel dumb. And I think that there are some books that I've tried to read that the whole purpose was the book is smarter than me.
Yes,
Which makes me
I
feel
don't like
really
that.
bad.
There's enough things in the
I
world that
know.
does that. So.
But there's some incredible romance novels that demand a lot from you emotionally. The person who co-writes the site with me is a woman named Candy Tan, and she made a really good point that particularly in the United States, we're discouraged from having great emotional display. Emotions are squidgy. We don't really want to deal with them, and if we do, we want to do it in a very confined space. Romance novels demand a lot from you emotionally, with the reassurance that it's all going to be okay. And that's very, very comforting, especially if you're not particularly comfortable with massive emotional
So it's
displays.
kind of a release in a way.
Yes. And not to, you know, create gender stereotypes with a very wide paintbrush, but I know of a lot of men who have started to come to my site and email me privately and say, I've read romance for years, I love it, I love this author, I love that author, and I've never told anyone that I read a romance novel. So if you think women have a hard time for reading romance, men who read romance have it even worse.
So they like they're in Romance Anonymous, kind of, where they just don't want everybody to know.
Right, and then they come out to me. And I'm like, you're awesome, what are you reading? Because if you like it, I want to know.
True story, my husband was in Desert Storm, and one of the guy's wives, there was very few of them married, but one of the guy's wives would send a goodie box and stick in some Danielle Steele.
Hell yeah.
And the whole unit passed them around.
Oh,
he
yeah.
goes, because I was reading Zoya or something in college, and he says, I've read Zoya, and I'm like, no way. You read Zoya?
And suddenly,
But you know what? It was with pride, because it's like, this is our reading material, and we're gonna dive right into Danielle Steele. Thank you very much.
especially when you're wearing, what, 50, 60 pounds
And you're
of
getting
body
shot at,
armor.
yeah.
You're getting shot
Yeah,
at.
right.
It might be a dune, it might be a bomb. It's like
Yeah.
190,000 degrees.
Talk about needing
right.
a release.
It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of women who are deployed who read my site, and they find that their stash of romance is frequently called upon by guys who are like, can I borrow one of those? Just, you know, don't tell. And pretty soon you see, you know, men on their break with most epic, beautiful covers of romance novels, just kicking back and relaxing. And nobody gives them.
Sure.
Would you give a hard time to a man with a gun and body armor? Come on.
Heck no.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk a little bit more about Romance with Sarah after the break here on Metro Woman.
But first, here's a quick and easy recipe from Kayla Westergaard from the Iowa Egg Council.
My favorite food at Asian restaurants is the egg drop soup. Today we're going to show you how to make your own. These are the ingredients you will need. 4 cups of chicken broth plus 2 tablespoons, a half teaspoon of ginger, 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, 2 eggs lightly beaten, and 2 green onions, as well as salt and pepper to taste. We'll start this recipe by bringing the chicken broth, the soy sauce, and the ginger to a boil. Let's get started. I'm now adding our chicken broth to our high heat stove, as well as our ground ginger and soy sauce. And you'll need to bring this to a boil. While we wait for that to boil, we're gonna grab our 2 tablespoons of chicken broth as well as our cornstarch and mix the two together to make almost a paste. Stir your cornstarch and broth until it's well mixed, and then slowly pour the cornstarch mixture into the stock, stirring slowly until the mixture begins to thicken. Reduce your heat to a simmer, and then we'll add our eggs. Now the trick to adding the eggs is while you're stirring, pour the egg mixture in the same direction you're stirring as well. So we will slowly add our eggs. And as you can see, those eggs begin to feather out. And when we come back, egg drop soup.
Moving my mind and my hands at world record speed. I'm Luke Myers.
If you want to be incredible, eat incredible.
Eggs. Incredible energy for body and mind.
So if your fortune includes good food for your family, try egg drop soup. I'm Kayla Westergaard.